So hello everyone and welcome to the Data Quality Days. I'm here with Lydia and Manuel, and we're very excited to run this event with you in the next 2 days to talk about data quality processes, patrolling, reviewing the data, fixing mistakes, and so many cool things that we're gonna have in the program tonight, tomorrow, and on Sunday. So here's what the opening is going to be about. We're going to start with a few, let's say, practical points: how to join the event, how to behave, what is expected, how you can help us take notes, stuff like this. Then we're going to go back to the basics of the definitions and talk about data quality. What do we mean by data quality? Why is it important? And what do we try to achieve during this event? Then we will look together at the program so you can get excited about what's happening in the next 2 days. And if the speakers of the different sessions are here in the chat and if they want to talk, this is not mandatory, I would open the floor to them so they can tease their session a little bit for 2 minutes maximum, just to get intrigued by the content. If not, I will present it myself. That's not a problem. And then finally, we're going to talk a little bit about some discussions that we want to have during the event. If you already had looked at the program, you saw that there are 3 mysterious discussion slots, and the topic is not defined yet because you're going to be the one choosing the topics later tonight. So stay tuned for more of that. All right. So here comes some basic information about the event. It is taking place over the weekend, tonight, tomorrow, and until Sunday, July 10th. You will find the program on Wiki. I will put the link in a minute. And as a reminder, all the times in the program are in UTC. Most of the sessions are going to take place on GC, all of them except one, actually. In this very room or in the second room that we have, in case we have 2 sessions in parallel, which is happening a couple of times on Sunday. The event is open to everyone. Anyone who's interested in Wikidata and data quality on Wikidata is very welcome to join. There is no registration, there is nothing. However, we have a list of participants. If you want to sign up there and say, I'm here, and also explain in a few words what you're expecting from this event or what you're interested in, that's great. And all of this event and all these discussion channels that come with it are covered by the Code of Conduct. So please have a look. And generally, please make sure that you contribute in making this event nice and welcoming for everyone. Now, if you have any questions, or if you're encountering any issues during the event, you can contact me by email. You can also contact me on Telegram at Oregon if you want. And then you can even send me a private message on Jitsi if it's during a session, for example, if there's anything urgent. Thanks a lot for sharing the links in the chat. That's perfect. So it's been a while since we were running events on Jitsi, and I guess that a lot of you are already used to it. But just to make sure if there are people for whom it's the first time on Jitsi, I wanted to show you quickly how it works. It is one of these many video call tools. You have the menu bar at the bottom where you can see the usual mute and unmute your microphone, your camera, and so on. Share your screen if you need it. Show or hide the chat. I wanted to talk for 2 minutes about this mysterious hand here that if you click on it directly, it raises your hand like to signal that you want to speak, like what Manuel just did right now. Or if you want to share some reactions, you have to click on the little arrow. I'm mentioning it here because it's been a common kind of joke that people who wanted to share reactions were actually raising their hand. It's not your fault. The Jitsi UX is weird. That's it. I just wanted to mention it. And then the rest is about like showing the participants the different views, and then a few more options that you have. So yeah, make sure that you mute your microphone and camera if you don't want to be seen and heard. But during the sessions, and especially during the Q&As, you are very welcome to unmute your microphone and to, yeah, just discuss with others or ask your questions directly to the speaker. You can also, of course, at any point ask questions in the chat. If the chat goes too fast, we're going to try to summarize the questions for the speaker later if needed. And unfortunately, it happens that people encounter bugs with Jitsi. For example, maybe the slides are not shown, or for some reason you can't hear anything, or whatever, or you're not being heard if you're trying to speak. So my advice for that is that the first thing to do is refresh the page, just in case. Sometimes it just solves the problem. If it doesn't solve the problem, maybe you can try on a different browser. I'm not really up to date on what Jitsi likes or not, but usually if you have either Chrome or Firefox, one of the two should work. And if none of this work, well, in doubt, reboot. You can always do that. And just so you know, there's also a Jitsi mobile app that works pretty well. So in case you want to join from a mobile, that's also possible. And yes, as Jan pointed out, very good point. You can also lower the video quality if you're having issues with your internet connection. Now, let's talk a little bit about documentation, because we love documentation. So some sessions are going to be recorded in video, like this one is. Some others won't. But in any case, we will have Etherpads to take collaborative notes. You will find the links directly from the schedule. So feel free to help us taking notes during the session. We will not only take notes of the main things that are said during the session and links and Q&A, but we will also try to connect a little bit like the main takeaways at the end of the event. And if it applies, we will also try to figure out what are the next steps, what are the things that we want to do together. This is super important for us to then share after the event for people who were not there, and just to make sure that basically the event doesn't stand on its own, and then as soon as it's over, we stop talking about data quality, but actually to make sure that the topics that we discussed are carried on later to the rest of the community on Wiki and so on. So you can see a list of the sessions that will have a video recording. All the sessions that are not listed there will not, but you will be able to take notes. And as usual, we'll share the slides. Some slides may even already be on Commons. And as for the videos, they are not going to be published directly after the session, but we hope to publish them shortly after the event. So you're very welcome to join the discussions. There is the talk page on Wiki where you can ask questions, for example, either during or after the event. We have the chat for each GT session, which is great for like instant discussion. However, just be aware that the chat is not logged. It's also not recorded, so it's basically going to disappear at the end of the event, and every time the room is totally empty, if I remember correctly. So if some interesting links or comments are shared in there, feel free to copy them somewhere, for example, on the Etherpad, if you want to make sure that it's saved. We have some people ask me a hashtag that you can use on your favorite social media. And then I'm pretty sure most of you know, but there are plenty of different Wikidata community channels, from the project chat on Wiki to the mailing list, the Wiki newsletter, the Telegram group, and so on. There are also some dedicated Telegram groups for some topics, for example, entity schema and so on. And the links will certainly be shared during the related session. And I think some of them are also in the program, so you can join them there. That was it for my little logistics introduction. If you have any question about that, if something was unclear, feel free to add in the chat. And in the meantime, we're going to talk about data quality. What is data quality actually?
Yes. So we are in the second data quality days that we're doing. And data quality is this fuzzy word that has many different aspects and many different ways to think about it. So I wanted to talk a bit through what we're actually talking about. So we have some shared vocabulary throughout the days. Next slide, please. So data quality matters. Why does it matter? Because by now, almost 10 years in, Wikidata is a central piece of a lot of the infrastructure that people, you, me, your family, use every day in technology, be it a digital personal assistant or a website and so on. And to show you just some examples, which you might know, next slide, please. There's so many cool things out there using our data. For example, the open art browser to show you beautiful paintings and other artwork, or the organized crime and corruption reporting project using our data to fight corruption. Or Kitty, for example, doing a travel assistant that is made a lot better by data from Wikidata, to name just a few. So there are a lot of places where our data is used. Next slide, please. So, and with that comes a bit of an obligation to us, right? We want to give the world reliable and trustworthy information. At the end of the day, Wikidata's reputation hinges on our data quality. The people who are building applications on top of our data, if our data is high quality, it's much easier to do that. And as you might have certainly noticed yourself, editing Wikidata is a lot easier if it's high quality because it's easier to find things and so on. Next slide, please. So, as I was saying at the beginning, data quality is this fuzzy thing. And there are many different aspects of data quality that we can talk about over the next days, such as accuracy. Like, is this data we have here generally accepted as true and free of errors? Or verifiability. Are there references for this statement? Are these references trustworthy? And so on. Then we have, for example, consistency. This goes into, is similar data modeled in the same way? Completeness. Is our data as complete as it needs to be to build a certain application that someone wants to build with it? Interlinking. So this is about our items and lexemes and so on linked to other places on the web, in other catalogs and so on, so that it's easy to get to additional data that is available there. And the last one I want to mention, but there's certainly more, is timeliness. That is about having and as up-to-date as needed for a certain application that you want to build. Next slide, please. And then, of course, in these different aspects that you can look at for data quality, there are, of course, also different types of issues that can exist in our data. For example, someone can vandalize it. There can be very inconsistent modeling in our data, making it hard to reuse. There can be issues in the ontology. There could be missing references. There can be items that are not classified, so we don't know what they're about, really. Or there can be just missing data. And again, this is not a complete list, of course, but it should give us a sense of how big that topic is. Next slide, please. Now, since ultimately we want that data to be used in applications and websites to build really cool stuff, we keep an ear on the ground to understand, okay, what do the people building those applications want from us? What do they really love? And the top 3 things, I think, are external identifiers, because you can find so much more and you can connect data and they are amazing. The second one is that we have a really close relationship with Wikipedia and Wikipedia articles, because again, it gives a lot of connection to other existing content. And last but not least, that we have community-generated data that has a predictable structure, for example, in lexemes or images on comments, and so on. Again, this is not an exhaustive list, but that's some of the things that reusers tell us they really value. On the other hand, there's also a few things that they're struggling with. For example, some unpredictable structures, because there's inconsistent modeling between different topic areas or within different items of the same topic, because you can express the same thing in different ways. For example, there will be a session on that topic, probably, to really dig into that. Yeah. Then another thing that users are struggling with is our ontology and the complexity that is in there. That is sometimes, in their view, overly complex. And the third thing I want to mention is errors in the ontology, where stuff is just not connected in the right way, with instance of and subclass of relation. And last but not least, vandalism, because it's not cool for them if vandalism shows up in their application, of course. And with that, this is why we are having Data Quality Days number 2, and come here together with all of you, because I think we can really make Wikidata better and continue to rock the data quality topic. And with that, I think I'm handing over to Manuel, to Lydia for the sessions, right?
Yes, absolutely. All right. So now let's have a look at the program to see all the exciting sessions that we're going to have over the next 2 days. So we are currently, as you can guess, in the opening session. Don't forget to stay until the end, because there will be something really exciting, which will be the selection of the discussion topics that we're gonna select together, and we're gonna be able to go much more in detail in some of these topics during the next few days. After the opening, we will have a first round of lightning talks to discover some data quality and patrolling tools. So we will have plenty of interesting tools that are focusing on data quality and completeness. We will have a short introduction to constraint to understand how it works. We will have an introduction to entity schema, mismatch finder, and we will discuss a little bit about disputes and collaboration in Wikidata. So make sure that you are there for this next session. And finally, to conclude the day, we will have fun. We will have a social event. I heard that there will be a quiz, so stay tuned. And we will also play together a bunch of games based on Wikidata, because there are plenty of them. Then let's dive into Saturday. So we will start with this structured conversation that I was telling you about. I'm not going to explain it too much right now, because Manuel is actually going to explain it to you much more in detail later. So it will be based on one of the topics that we will select tonight. Next will be a session about queries for data quality and maintenance. I see that we have Lucas and Harmonia in the room. Do you want to say a little bit about what we're going to do during this session?
Do you hear?
Yes, I briefly heard you, but then you were muted again.
Okay, is this working?
Yes.
Yeah,
Hi.
okay. We weren't sure what the audience wanted, so what I have prepared with Lucas is an overview of what I did for the figure skating project, meaning starting literally from scratch, nothing, and how we build all the tools to make very easy to have all the queries and all the tool needed for quality. And we wanted to have some time specifically to help other people to build the same tools if that was helpful for them.
Awesome. Thank you. So after that, we will have a short break, and then we will have one practical session, a session diving into one of the practical topics of data quality. I see that Camilo is here. Do you want to say something?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. So basically, it's the things that I have written in the presentation, which is just a text, it's not slides, so you can have a look at what I will basically say. I will present some practical cases of inconsistent modeling. Some of them have been solved, but most of them, a discussion has not been opened yet. So they are still open for discussion, decision, which standard we want to apply, and then the standard should be enforced. So I have also an overview about how to enforce standards, and then some final thoughts and a long discussion about all this process from finding a problem of inconsistent modeling to deciding for a model to enforcing the model.
Amazing, thank you. Inconsistent modeling is definitely one of the topics that we identified as important, so we're really looking forward to this session. After that, we're going to have the bug triage hour. Some of you may already be familiar with this format because we've been playing around with it for more than a year now, I think. So the idea behind the session is that you can come with your favorite fabricator tickets, and we're going to try to improve the description of the issue. The goal is not to solve the issue during the session, but to make sure that the ticket, that the issue is well described in the ticket, that it has the right tags, the right description, screenshots, whatever is needed to make sure that the ticket is easier to find and then eventually to work on. So you can come without any idea, but if you're familiar with the topic of data quality, I'm pretty sure that you have a few ideas of bugs or issues that are still not solved. So you can already prepare the fabricator link, and then we will look at them and improve them together during the session. Then we will have a discussion with Mike Peel, who's not there, so we'll try to summarize shortly what it's going to be about. It is about matching new Wikipedia article to Wikidata items. So the idea is to look at the possible discrepancies when some new Wikipedia articles are created, which is happening all the time, but that the connection is not directly made with Wikidata item, which creates missing interwiki links, duplicate, and so on. So Mike plans to discuss the current status of things, including the tools that already exist to try to solve these problems, and then identify ways to improve that. So I think it's going to be another very practical and very exciting session. Then we will have another structured conversation session that Manuel will describe later. And And then we will have a session about Scholia, because what is a Wikidata event without a session about Scholia? So all the Scholia fans, you can gather there. Is Daniel here? Yes, you're here. Do you want to say something about your session, Daniel?
Yeah, just in brief. So Scholia is a tool to explore scholarly content of Wikidata. And while exploring that, of course, there are lots of things that you might notice. One is gaps in your own knowledge, but others are actually problems with the data. And in this session, we will focus on problems with the data from modeling issues, because they are reflected in the way either the Scholia queries need to be written or in the way they fail to pick up certain parts of the data. Then also incompleteness, when the most recent entry on a topic is like 3 years old or things like that. Then also references, how they can be, like the referencing of certain facts can be more, let's say, highlighted. And also what are the workflows around this? So how can we, from browsing the things that are there, how can we get to the things that should be there, and in an easy chain of steps? And yeah, we will play around. If you have use cases, particular problems, then bring them with you. And I hope it will be both fun and useful.
Amazing. Thank you. After that, we will have another session that is going to be very interesting by user Bensimak. I don't think that they're here, so I will just explain briefly. This is about dealing with cross-wiki spam on Wikidata. So we are very interested to have someone show us a little bit of their workflow when doing patrolling and generally checking the data quality. So we're very happy that Bensimak is going to present a little bit of what they're doing, especially about people who may add wrong or inconsistent information, not only on Wikidata, but also on the other projects, and how it is all connected and how we can try to hunt this wrong data and fix it. So join this session, because I'm pretty sure you're going to learn a lot about like practical patrolling workflows, tools, and so on. And then to conclude the day, we will have a live editing session with our friends Jan and Albin. Jan, tell us more.
Yes, so this is going to be, as usual, we're going to show what we're doing and what we're thinking when we're doing it. And I'm going to look at the hidden gems on the property talk pages and all the good links that are there, and how you can use it for discovery of quality issues and how you can fix some of them. And Albin will creating a small entity schema for glaciers, very not surprising, and probably like a sort of a prequel to what will come the next day.
Cool. Awesome. Speaking of the next day, let's move to Sunday. So we will start the day again with another discussion on one of the topics that you're going to choose later today. And then we're going to have a very exciting session about lexemes. So basically, the question is, what are the current problems that we encounter on lexicographical data at the moment? And especially, what could go in the way of reusing this data set for abstract Wikipedia. So Ariel is going to guide us through a little bit through the different issues that they encountered while looking at the lexicographical data. And it's going to be also a discussion about how to fix these issues. And then, because we needed a little bit more time to really dive into the topic and maybe get some stuff done during the event, which we would be very happy about, on the next hour, we will have a workshop still with Ariel, where you will be able to improve both the documentation and maybe the ontology itself for lexemes. Depending on what issues are going to be highlighted and what people want to work on, it may be maybe doing some property creations or just work on the data. There's definitely more love to give on documentation, and especially the specific documentation for the specific languages that the community started, and we definitely want to work on that as well. So if you're into Lexeme and abstract Wikipedia, this is the place where you can go. In parallel, during the workshop, we will have another room that doesn't have a fixed topic for now. The idea was to give some space in case, in one of the many interesting sessions that we have on Saturday, in case you need more space to get some stuff done. Let's say at the end of a discussion, you realize that, yeah, we definitely need to work on this. For example, I don't know, preparing a request for comment, or like maybe designing something, working on a tool, or just editing together. So this room will be there for that. So if during a session you feel like you need some space, you can definitely use this one. And if you even need more rooms, we could also consider opening more, depending on the interests. Then we will have a 1 hour break in which you can have lunch or dinner or get some fresh air. And we will continue with the program with entity schema. What is an event about data quality without talking about entity schema and shape expressions? Do we have people in the room who would like to talk about the introduction and also the editing session?
I can introduce it. So there will be a lightning talk today that Eric will do that'll give an overview of how entity schemas and shape expressions can support our data quality work on Wikidata. And then on Sunday, we'll give a little bit of the background about how the schema namespace E has been used on Wikidata, and some of the great and creative schemas that have been contributed by the community. And we'll also share an example from start to finish about how people go about thinking up a new idea for a schema, figuring out how to structure it and contribute it. And then there will be a live schema editing session where you can watch or participate hands-on with a schema in active development.
Awesome. This is really exciting. Schemas are the future and already the present, actually. So feel free to join the sessions if you want to learn more about it and get involved into creating and improving schemas. And then in parallel of the schema editing session, we will also have a constraint-a-thon, meaning basically a session where you will be able to look at property constraints and edit some, create some more together. This will be run by Mike Peel, and feel free to come with your favorite topics, your favorite areas in Wikidata, or even your favorite property, and then you will work together on setting some property constraints. After that, we will have a second round of lightning talks where you will be able to discover some more tools like speed patrolling, the brand new Wikidata Recent Change API designed by Magnus, and Vandalism Dashboard and the Item Quality Evaluator. So stay tuned if you want to discover some more tools. And then finally, we will move forward to the closing session where we will just celebrate the end of the event. We'll be able to share some highlights and interesting stuff that we learned during the event. Talk a little bit about documentation, of course. And we will also do a recap of what are the most important things that happened during the event and what are the next steps. As I was saying earlier, we really want this event to not be just a cool online event that you attend and then you forget about it. We want to come together to have interesting discussions, maybe to make some decisions or at least have suggestions that we can bring to the rest of the Wikidata community, and in some cases to the Wikidata development team if something from the development side is needed. And we want to get stuff done and want to make things happen. So the closing will also be the moment to reflect on that and to see what can be our next steps as a community to improve data quality. All right, so I hope that you're as excited as I am about the program. Again, you can find this program directly on Wiki. Don't forget that the times are in UTC, and then for each item of the program, you can find the link to the Jitsi room, which most of the time is this one. So you can even mark it as a favorite for the weekend, and you will find the link to the notes, and later the slides, the video replay if there is one, and so on. And now, let's talk about the discussion topics that we want to have. Manuel, floor is yours.
Thank you so much. It's great to see all this excitement in the chat already. So yeah, data quality is a super broad topic, and there's so much to talk about, so much to discuss, to work on. And yeah, we didn't know what are the most interesting topics for you to discuss about. So there's a little experiment for you. We want to let you vote on some of the topics that you suggested. Next slide, please. And this is what I'm talking about right now, those structured conversations that Leah teased all along. And what are those? Like, what is the structure in structured conversations? It just means that based on those topics that you chose, we will collect some issues on that topic, vote on that again, discuss possible solutions. You can find allies of other like-minded people that want to make something happen in that area. We'll document a little bit for the world out there. Yeah, so this is, as I said, it's an experiment. I'm pretty hyped about it, but that's not like for me. It's the matter is whether you like it or not. So next slide, please. These are the topics that we sort of are suggesting. They're based on your input. And I'll go through all of them. You can it will be 6 topics. You have up to 2 votes in the Etherpad. So just remember the letter or like the topic. You have time until to the closing at 8 UTC. So that's right after the social event today. So let me just go through them. The first one is called How to Tame Rogue Robots. It's about bots and other tools that, on the one hand, are super helpful to edit Wikidata. It's probably if you count numbers, it's the most important way to edit Wikidata. At the same time, sometimes those tools are used in a way that is really causing problems and decreases data quality. So if this is something that you have experienced and that you want to maybe change, then this session is for you. We're going to collect some problematic trends or patterns, discuss possible solutions, and then find allies and to make something happen. The next session is called Rules and Anarchy. This is about policies and guidelines on Wikidata, actually, because we don't have that many on Wikidata compared to Wikipedia, for example. But the ones we have, they're not always enforced in practice. Some examples would be Wikidata bots or Wikidata notability. And ignoring important rules can have negative consequences on the community and for data quality. So if this is a topic that you're interested in, vote on that topic and basically unbreak the rules. We'll collect examples of policies and guidelines that you think are important but currently ignored with negative consequences, and we'll discuss possible solutions and again try to find a way how to handle that. The next topic is called Why Isn't There More Guidance on This? This is about the reality of Wikidata, that it's often harder than necessary to do the right thing. Even if you have good intentions and are willing to do a little bit of research, sometimes it's really hard to do the right thing because for example, things are implemented differently on different places of Wikidata, or it's just not intuitive enough, or that you don't find help pages or something like that for the problem that you have. So I guess every one of us has experienced that, and it's, as I've written, annoying to the best of us. But for new editors, that's a real problem. And so this session is about collecting examples of this, and again, discuss possible solutions and come together on this. Yes, so that was I think we have to go back to C because we skipped that. Thank you for mentioning this. Yeah, everyone wants round tripping. There's a lot of enthusiasm going on in the chat. Excellent. So yeah, we forgot C. That's about round tripping data. There are excellent sources out there that we want to to be a part of Wikidata. And Wikidata, we want Wikidata to be a part of a lot of projects out there. And through that, we will notice mistakes. We'll notice mistakes in external data sources for Wikidata, and people out there will notice sort of errors that we have on Wikidata. And the ideal way of fixing that would be like a circle where like data is like used and checked, and there's always back channels for fixing data upstream, and that's basically round tripping of data. Unfortunately, it's not that easy to set that up right now, and this session would be a start of maybe changing that. So we would collect the existing like problems for setting up round tripping, and again discuss how we can help users who want to make that happen for their use cases. Cool. So now go to E. Perfect. This one is called "Not Everything Wikipedia Works for Wikidata." We have some places, like technology-wise, but also from the processes that we follow on Wikidata, that come from Wikipedia, because it's the software that we use. Like Wikidata is based on MediaWiki, of course, but also because yeah, a lot of our thinking comes from Wikipedia. But maybe that's not in all cases the best way to go. And if you like have that feeling, if you like in your experience, if this is a problem, then that session is for you to discuss some of the issues and maybe find alternatives to that. In case you're wondering, that logo, that Wikidata logo, it's supposed to be sort of Wikidata with Wikipedia ears. Yeah, logos that need explanations. Okay, the last one, I think. The last one is actually sort of a follow-up session to something that we already have in the program, but I think it's bigger than that. It's called "Too Many Ways to Express the Same Thing." It's a follow-up session or like something like that to Camilo's how do we deal with concurrent uses of different properties. That was about like increasing standardization of the use of properties in classes. And while the talk goes about humans, this can be about anything basically. Again, same pattern. We would collect and discuss practical steps towards better standardization on Wikidata. So I hope you have the same problem that I have, and all of them would be really nice for you, but you have only 2 votes. So in the Etherpad, you should find a list of all those topics. Please vote. You have up to 2 votes. If you want to look at what those sessions were exactly, you can look on the discussion page on Wiki, or like follow the link down there. You'll see them all, and you'll also like see the goals there. I hope that will work. Let me check on the Etherpad if something is going on already.
People are starting to vote.
Excellent. So this is working well. Yeah.
We have one question.
Cool.
Which is, can I +2 one topic, or do I have to split my votes?
Do what you think is good. Yeah, sure, you can do that.
All right. Great. Thank you, Manuel. So we are arrived at the end of this opening session. Thank you very much. As Manuel just said, don't forget to vote on your favorite topics. You can take a bit more time to think about it. You can also look at the description of the topics that Manuel just showed it's on the talk page of the Data Quality Days. I also put the link in the chat. So take your time, because you have until 20 UTC, which is basically at the end of 2 days program, at the end of the social event. And then we will add the top 3 discussions into the program. So thank you very much again for attending the opening of the Data Quality Days.